Hi everyone, and welcome back to FPL with me, Got No Skill, as we review Game Week 18. But first, let's see how I went in Game Week 17, and whether it was enough to get past my FPL Cup first round opponent. And with a Game Week score of 54, beating the average of 43, it turned out that it was just enough for me to barely scrape past my first round cup opponent, Wiz Mido from Sudan, as he scored 48 points. Although my winning margin was 6 points, it was much closer in reality, and I'm definitely counting myself very lucky to have gotten through, as it wouldn't have taken much more in the form of real results, or what turned out to be misplays on his part, to have knocked me out of the cup. But there was one glaring error on my part, which made this tie a lot closer than it probably should have been, and that was my captain choice, which is something I'll come back to later on. But for now, I'm fairly relieved to be in the next round of the cup, and here I offer my condolences to my opponent, Mr. Mido, and I wish you all the best for the rest of the season. And as for my overall rank, it went up slightly to around the 75,000 mark. And prediction-wise, I got 6 out of 10. So now, let's look at my likely lineup for Game Week 18. And here it is. After my transfer this game week from the injured Bellerin to Matt Targett. Although Southampton haven't kept many clean sheets, there could be one for them this game week, as they face a Huddersfield side struggling to score without the creativity of Aaron Moy. And looking ahead, Southampton also have a decent run of fixtures from game week 22 onwards. And with Southampton's main threat coming from headed goals, the players who provide the crosses for them could offer great value. Therefore, Matt Targett has caught my attention, as he provided the perfect cross to assist Danny Ings' first goal in their stirring win over Arsenal last game week. Although he's probably just deputising for the injured Bertrand, his impressive form would hopefully keep him in the starting lineup. But more importantly, at just 4.2 million, the extra budget could be used elsewhere for me to invest in, making him a risky transfer I'm willing to make. But now, I'd like to talk about my strategy in picking a captain with my FPL Cup opponent in mind. So for me, I think there are two approaches you could take when doing so. The first of which is the safer option, as you're captaining the best common player between you and your opponent. In my opinion, I think you should take this approach if you think your overall team will outscore your opponents, when not accounting for points from captains. The rationale behind this is that if your overall team outscores that of your opponent, then captaining the best common player should be enough for you to win the tie. Indeed, the only way for the team with the lower raw score to win without chips is through their captain, which leads on to the second higher risk, higher reward approach, captaining a differential player. So using my first round cup tie as an example, had I followed through with the first approach and captained the best common player, which in this case was Hazard, then I would have had a much more comfortable win. Although I did think that my overall team would outscore my opponents, I was concerned about Salah and Son being benched, which turned out to be half correct, as Son did indeed start from the bench. Therefore, I ended up going with the second approach, by captaining Aubameyang, who I thought would have been the best player that my opponent didn't have. However, this almost turned out to be a disastrous decision, therefore showing the high-risk, high-reward nature of the second approach, which should probably only be used if you think your team won't be able to beat your opponents without a differential captain. So that's my rationale behind my captain choices when considering my FPL Cup opponent. Feel free to comment below whether you agree or disagree. But now, let's move on to my real captain choices for this game week. And the most popular captain for this game week is likely to be a Man City player, as they are facing Palace at home. And from their wealth of attacking talent, Salah could be the most attractive option, as he has 3 goals and 4 assists in the last 5 games, all of which he started. And this looks set to continue, as he wasn't involved at all in City's midweek cup game win over Leicester, unlike Sterling. However, Sterling is still likely to start, as he was just a sub in that game, and with just 1 blank all season at home, he could be another strong captain option for City. Although the next 2 are slight doubts to start, they also have favourable fixtures, with Eden Hazard's Chelsea up against Leicester at home, and Harry Kane's Tottenham away at Everton. And if fit, Hazard could be a solid captain choice, after his brilliant performance last game week for this one too, especially as he's up against an out-of-form Leicester side who have just 1 point out of the last 3 games. And as for Kane, who has added assists to his game, with more of them in this season than ever before, he faces an Everton side who are without a clean sheet in the last 4, during which they've conceded 7 times. And finally, Mo Salah, the joint top scorer, is likely to be a popular captain as well, as Liverpool travel to Wolves. However, this fixture could be trickier for Liverpool than it suggests on paper, as Wolves are in the form of their lives after winning the last 3 league games. But having said all that, you still probably back Liverpool for the win, and Salah is still the most likely to get the biggest points haul from this game. And as for the differentials, Aubameyang could be a minor one this game week, since most people have probably been put off by his recent poor form and the fact that Burnley almost shut out Spurs last game week. But he could reward those who keep the faith, as Burnley at home is still a promising fixture for Arsenal's attack. And speaking of attack, West Ham's one has been devastating in recent times, so any of their attackers, including Felipe Anderson and Snodgrass, could be great differentials, especially as they face Watford, who have conceded at least 2 goals or more in their last 5 games. And anyone who plays Fulham seems to score a few, so Newcastle's Rondon could be good as well. And Paul Pogba could be a cheeky differential, as he may now be able to finally focus on his football instead of his rocky relationship with his former manager. So now, let's finally finish up with my predictions. So for this game week, I've got Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Southampton, Man City, Newcastle, West Ham and Man United to win, with the others resulting in draws. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Good luck for Game Week 18 and please consider subscribing.